It's Kellen, and today you guys are going to be on the path to luxury. I mean, we're talking TV, we're talking luxury. We're talking to Fred Fields, the general manager of M12TV. You're going to go Google this and say, wait, I've never heard of this. Where are they out of? Man, he's going to give us the game, how he got in this position, and how, if you're interested in TV entertainment, possibly investing, stock market, maybe he can give some game on all of that. Fred, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Thank you very much. I'm good. I mean, I'm functioning off of 48 hours of no sleep, but this is what it is when it's needed to move from one position to the next in the world of entertainment. I'm gonna call it just like that. No matter how you see yourself in it, whether you're at the bottom or at the top or in the middle, there's some things that has to be sacrificed. And for right now, it's sleep.
Man, talk about it. Well, tell people what your position is and kind of what you do in that day to day.
Well, at the current time, I'm the general manager for M12, and M12 is more so a lifestyle of what people consider to be things that are needed and to be sustained for the world, for a part of knowing like what that even kind of falls into. So I'm in the entertainment side of it all. I pretty much was connected with the founder through being on a film set for a production we're working on, and just seeing my hustle and bustle for majority of just wearing a variety of different hats. He kind of noticed a little light with upon me, and put me to the side and have me doing some various different projects related to his field for his position, and slid me right in being the general manager for the portion of making sure certain things happen as far as for what's going out for people to view and see. So I give you the whole rundown for as far as for who I am, and might give you more detail and understanding as to what that kind of entails and my everyday type of deal that I kind of go through in this entertainment world.
Well, if you can give a quick rundown of, people see you hustling, and in entertainment, it's like if you're a hustler, you might start being the door person or the secretary, but you may be the VP, the president. So, give that journey, because there's somebody out there listening saying, hey, I'm trying to get in that position. What college do I have to go to? Or, some people, who do I have to, meet to make that happen? So tell us your story.
Yeah, there's definitely stepping stones and process of getting to where you wanted to be, because I never thought of being a general manager of the company that does a lot of variety of different things when it relates to making financial moves. So for me, I pretty much started doing weddings. like, and how I got into that is because my past full time where I was teaching, I, was capturing certain things throughout the classroom to a point where someone came to me, was like, you think you could take some pictures or video of my wedding? I'm like, yeah. I just had that confidence that I could do it, and I've never done it before. And it kind of went from word of mouth of, who I was in that particular world to, working on a variety of different other things that related to capturing photo wise, video wise, then I'm trying to understand the aspect of making the image even better and knowing the post-production process of it as well. So it started with word of mouth, doing weddings, and then I bumped into a very significant figure in the entertainment world that was connected to one of the hugest names in the business when it comes to this knowledge name base. I'm just going to drop it. Will Smith, that was connected to his camp. So he went and asked me, was I cool with shooting a documentary? I was like, cool. I said, what is it about? And he went on to tell me it was one of the worst massacres in Philadelphia that he was actually, going to be checking out and needed someone to film. So we went and did that. And that project's called the Lex Street Massacre. And in essence, I got the chance to hang with the four guys who were first accused of the horrific mass murder in Philadelphia, in the city. Definitely, they did things to kind of cover things up and change it all, but they had a story to tell. And, for the most part, I did everything that was needed. And he recognized that. His name was Ernest Tron Anderson. And at that time, I didn't know his position in the entertainment world until he was letting me know later in small segments as to who he was, what he has done, and his accomplishments, from being almost like a ghost writer in the background for Will Smith, from doing the telecast for the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, rewriting some lines for him, for the most part, for some of his film work, as far as for Men in Black, Bad Boys, his notable writer part and Independence Day, and some other things that he's done too. He even was like kind of like the backbone starter of the film Hitch, which which he kind of created and then pushed that to the side for the other production to follow through. So like that's who he was, and like I was under his tutelage to the point where we actually got another deal, and we worked on my very first film with him, besides just the documentary called What We Do, starring Rockefeller's main person at the time, which was Freeway, who was making moves in the industry along with the group State Property, which it included some of those other characters. So my guy, Tron, he was actually the writer and director for State Property as well. So, I got my feet wet and working on that production. It led me to working with other people who were like hanging on set, seeing me going to action. And, I worked on a couple of other film projects. And nothing that's super huge, but, it put me in a position to understand more of the craft. And I've never been to school for this. I'm basically learned straight from being on different sets, just getting an eye for the look. I mean, I watch a lot of film, I watch a lot of TV, and by with that as a reference point and knowing how things kind of look, I went on that level of just going about it on a trial by basis. You make a lot of mistakes as well in the process, and I know with school you get theory, and I think it's important for someone who is really interested but doesn't have the necessary connections that I kind of made to actually go to school and learn the aspect of filming. I mean, the other thing is that some people who want to take it real seriously, you must have a passion for also trying to tell a story. So I know for Spike Lee, as his growing up, he went to film school, not to learn the whole process in theory, but to use the tools to make his stories come to life. You probably have seen all different types of, segments about him explaining that, and even has masterclass even talking about that. So, I try to keep myself kind of on the edge when the new thing for how things are done is kind of like perceived for what we're in right now. So, and it changes like anything in this world, and you have to kind of like go along with the flow of the change. So, with that being said, I pretty much worked on a lot of miniature projects up until the time I worked on my own project. Where I pulled up my own capital out of my pocket when kind of broke. My house was on foreclosure to work on my very first film for my own self that I created. And that was called Playground the Movie. And actually, I had some guys who was in The Wire that was on there. The Wire is a very famous show that's on HBO. I had a lot of the students that I actually worked with that I pulled. So I was just using the resources that I had, to make it happen. So that lived on iTunes, lives on Amazon. I know iTunes changed this whole game when they created the platform Apple TV. So like it's in that ecosystem somewhere, but it still lives on Amazon. It's called Playground, but out there. And every once in a while, I see someone grab it from a country like Japan or overseas in the Western world. So either case, it's kind of like my key stake place or footprint, as you would call it, into the entertainment world. Also worked on a couple of other projects as well that is out there. School of Hard Knocks with the same guy that that got me into filming the documentary and into working on our first film called What We Do with Freeway. and then just doing all the types of other projects. So just, connecting with other people. And definitely it is who's who in this business from one stage to the next, more so than just the education you need to have as well. Everybody needs to have the theory understanding. Like I said, we make mistakes when it comes to trying to understand the whole process of it. And with the theory knowledge base, with the real world presence, it definitely, it makes sense to have that. But for me, it's a different path for so many people. Like, anything in this world, you have to learn from mistakes. So I've had a handful, but at the same time as well, also had some accomplishments as well with moving that forward with where I'm at right now and the M12 industry, and being the GM for this great individual who's been, nothing but shining a great light upon for what we're trying to accomplish. And that's just basically, giving a different taste of a lifestyle for how you can see someone being elevated in the entertainment world.
No, awesome. I mean, I thank you for putting that together, because you look like Philly, beans. That whole you got the you got your, that's not a COVID beer, that's a Philly beer. You know what I mean?
Been rocking it for a minute,
Yeah.
Actually, rare now because it's just dealing with so much in this short period of time. So it becomes territory.
I think it's important though how you started off with the weddings, because a lot of us men, especially black men, would be like, hold on, start off with weddings, but how one thing begets another thing, and you just showed your work, and your worth as well. So with, doing it, I say you got it out the mud, you did it the hard way. Because you didn't go to school, you didn't have a professor writing a letter saying, hey, this would be a great student, for that project that you have, and you just used what God gave you. How do you track your process and your progress? Because when you're doing a wedding, it's not like someone's out there writing you a testimonial, especially back in the day. I've done this almost 20 years, and to track it, and the people like, hey, you never told me you did that. And if IMBD doesn't accept whatever you say, right, how do you let people know this is what I do without just knowing them and showing them what you can do?
Understood. When it comes to weddings, to tell you the truth, it's not like you can say, cut, hold on a second, go back down the aisle again, and let's do it one more time. I think it kind of prepared me to try to get it right the very first time. And, you're going to have some ups and downs and some pitfalls with it being stated. But I think for some people, it keeps them kind of sharp in a game when some things that may be stagnant in the industry. As far as for like my address is, I'm on IMDb. It's Fred Fields. You'll see me. I'm right there in the process. Same smile. I had the same beard, but not as gray. That's on there. And you can definitely see like the work of it's not the depth of work, but the work that that's up there for where I'm at right now. So I do need to update it. It's been a little minute, but once that's kind of updated, you kind of see like what's going on. Also have a reel there, and that reel, it includes just nothing but just different clips of how I look out as far as the lens is concerned, so that people can see my eye. And I think I got a good eye for what goes on in the industry, which is captured the other person's show that I've been working on for the past couple of years. That's called Brotherhood of Silver, and that's under the creator writer Rollo Robertson. And he's a really good guy. He's been around the industry as well. And with that, connected to Mr. Mayhe, who's connected for one M12. So it's like who to kind of slide in. But at the same time, too, once people see you in action, it's a different aspect. So I've worn every single hat. Not to say that's good to wear every single hat, because there's some things, like I said, in school, they teach you how to work with, other individuals to get things done. And you look at the credits, it's like a list of people who do certain things. But I think after you kind of like go through that process, you welcome having more hands. Just recently, I did some work for a very great individual who I went to high school with, And at the time he was high school, was like a high school bully. He would say something different, but he's the head singer for Kendra Family Soul. And, he's a real good guy. We reconnected. I was doing some work for another individual connected to Will Smith. And, he happened to see me. We crossed paths and we chatted up. And since then, I've done some work for them along with Brian McKnight. And like the list goes on. Brandy, Erykah Badu, Tyrese, and it expanded to where we're at right now in this square space for even right now of connecting to do a interview virtually. So like in essence, I've shot over 70 different celebrities in a period of 2+ weeks in this virtual space that we're in. And these are well-known household names that you could kind of think of, like from Jill Scott to Black Thought from the Roots to Raheem DeVaughn. I mean, the list goes on and on. And also individuals that are starters and pioneers in certain fields in the entertainment world. So, it's kind of like, a stepping stone and building block for what we got going on. And the other key factor for, people connecting is social media. I was told that my social media game is weak. Weak. And I get it. I got it, So I'm in the process of trying to get that together. I have some stuff I was trying to push, like I call it yeah, it's bad. That's real bad.
Well, don't worry about that, because you can always grow.
Yeah, you're right. Definitely right. And I wish I had social media when I brought up my first baby, and it was there. It's just that I was just neglected. I said, "Oh, I gotta get on radio, and radio costs this much. Oh, I gotta do this, for the other path of media to try to get connected, and like not just recognizing that social media is actually the path to have that marketing done, and it's not that much. It's just time invested to connect to all the individuals who will help in the process of seeing your seed blossom to where it needs to be.
Off air, I got some game for you on that might be helpful, because you might be from the old school like me. You might not see the gray hairs in these love locks, but they're there. And I got something that might be able to help you, and also something brand new that I can't vouch for yet, but I can share with you that can really, it's going to change the game in social media. Like we're going to be on Gary V status with the social media, and it's all software. Automation is here. Read books like The Future is Faster Than You Think. It's already here, folks. But I do want to correct something, and I want to give a lesson to someone who may be listening to these interviews or watching. I didn't know I was going to interview Fred today. So when I said, he didn't go to school for it's the directing, the cinematography, he didn't go to school for that. Let me correct, because I had to do my research on the fly. And he has a master's degree. He has a bachelor's. For all the kids who say, well, see, I told you, Mom, I don't need this because Fred, look what he's done. But there's something about the process. I remember teaching in grad school, and people say, why are you doing that? I said, well, I needed a discount on tuition. And the teacher said I knew more about web design and social media and all this than him. So Dr. Murray gave me the opportunity to come out of my shyness. Some of y'all who know me know, maybe I never had it, but to come out of my shyness to me and teach the class. The same, folks that thought I was fly in the classroom now have to be taught by me. So I want to stress that education piece, because if all this didn't go the way it wanted to, you'd be teaching at somebody's university, or you'd have a job, because you have those degrees. Correct?
Yes, that you're right about that. Hold on a second. So we're talking about the entertainment portion here for where I did not go to school for. But yes, I have a bachelor's. I have a master's in education and technology as well. So it's kind of infused for what I do, and also a minor in music. So I know a little about, when it comes to just making sure, as far as for my own personal growth, that, that's out there. But as far as for just like the School of Hard Knocks for understanding the whole film world, that's where I did not go to school for at all. But I learned under different people. I've been yelled at many times on a set, as far as for like, certain things that was happening. This is like all in the growth and process, like anything else. Someone who might be an apprentice for someone who might be a welder or a plumber or electrician. There's certain things you're going to learn. I mean, I think as an electrician, if you get shocked, not to do certain things like you did before prior to being shocked, and you're going to have that experience, So that comes along with the process of it. But yes, I do have my master's, and I do have my undergrad, and I just transitioned from one perspective in being a classroom to being the IT director. So I can actually work from my phone. Don't tell nobody this. I can actually work from the phone if I needed to, and I have, certain days like, oh, I'm working home remotely because in the space that we're in right now, we're kind of forced to do that. But at times I do have to sometimes physically be there to help those in the process for understanding the technology that's been passed out. Like just recently, the rush of devices for all our students, because that's where we're at right now with it. So there's this learning curve with it. And I know with it being rushed, not just for our place in space, but it's everywhere. It's kind of like part of the quality control for, that is out there. Anyhow, that is kind of like the nature from more of my background.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I just wanted to stress that because, entertainment and life isn't filled with always people who went to school. But personally, you don't have to go down this path with me and say this is right. I see a difference between the people long term who have that extra education, can go into those boardrooms and talk that school, even if you didn't want to learn it, didn't want to do the report, didn't want to do the thesis on it, right? The way that your people were telling you, no, should be written like this. It teaches you something about the process. And I see folks who don't have it, when they get their $100,000 cash, they go buy whatever car. I almost said the car, then I would have been telling on a client. We know we don't do that, but they don't go buy that car. They invest it into their business to make another business. And really, I just see a difference. I don't know. Do you see that?
Yeah, I do. I mean, you have to invest into yourself. If not, then who's going to? I mean, maybe somebody who might see the vision that you might have. And I know for my first baby, I did have people who invest in me, my parents, my brother, my family, wife, even my kids. Actually, I put them to work.
Yes.
They kind of got the bug. Actually, my youngest, she has a nice following for her social media, and I said, well, you need to be helping up, be helping me. She has a couple of million hits on the videos, and like, okay, so like, how you gonna help me?
Wait, reach one. Shout it out real quick. What's the name of the channel?
Ayana Sabrina.
Okay.
Ayana Sabrina. And her whole path is all about vanity, hair products. She's flourishing within it. Actually, she turned the whole third floor into a studio. I've been asking me, just like, okay, just took over other rooms that in our house. I got a big house here. Just took it over and just like, just made it to a whole big business. So, she's doing things within it, and I know there's some things that she could reach back and help Dad out.
Yeah. But what you got to remember though is because I represent influencers, especially on YouTube, and what you have. One thing doesn't resonate. Like if she says, hey, Dad, I need you to put on these skinny jeans and this, this, whatever it is. Right. And you'd be like, no, that ain't my style. I'm Philly, I'm old school Philly. I can't. It's that whole, how flexible can we be? Because what the kids are doing or what one channel gets is not necessarily going to resonate on TikTok. And so you have to know how to make it flexible. And I'm from the old school where I just kind of want to do what I want to do. I want to talk to, business people like yourself and say, how did you get it? And if I have to wear skinny jeans, then I'm just not going to get a million hits. If I got to, put on that black hat with the red that everybody has, and they act like they got the real one, but not the $1,200 one, that's just not my style, because I don't want to look like everybody else. I want to do me with the African jerseys, whatnot, that I bought in Cameroon. So I think Ayana Sabrina, you have been put on the spot to help Pops, and he's going to let you kind of style him and do it your way.
She kind of did that before. She kind of like tricked me into getting, like, I guess the number one video she put out there. She cut all her hair off, as far as for trying to get that I guess noticed, and she did. She got almost like kind of like compared to Keke Palmer from a lot of the people who commented on her strength and courage in doing what she did, and a process of just what she does as someone in this path of social media, because she is becoming part of that whole retrospect. And I'm just trying to, even still from my knowledge, like, how'd you do that? She, it's added all the time. She might put up like 5 or 6 videos a week that deal with her niche, which is hair and makeup. And I guess it all goes together because it's a field that a lot of people have interest in. I mean, like, even I was putting even makeup on me, and like, I didn't think nobody was going to know, but I had, at the time when I was teaching, that kid said, "Mr. Fields, did you have makeup on the other day?" Because some dudes follow her. So some of the students I was teaching follow her. And how'd you notice? Just kind of put out. Yeah. So
Wow. Well, since we're on the topic of family, how has family, having a wife, having children, shaped you in this business? Because this is a crazy business.
Yes, it is. There are many times that I don't even make it home because I'm somewhere editing with X, Y, Z, and it happens. And in the aspect of our the project that they all saw me come through, as far as where I had to leave teaching my very first film to be on set all the time, and it wasn't like what I thought it would be. As far as for like the money and like having to struggle, but they got it at that time and kind of went with it. Matter of fact, the wifey, she's actually a writer as well. And we have, a slew of screenplays and, looking for investors right now. They were living on cyberspace, pulled them down, as far as for ideas that somebody might see, like, oh, let me grab that, even though it is copyrighted with WGAW. As far as for like, just trying to keep everything safe in the place where we needed to be until it's time to break out the box again. So I'm working on who's of a project right now and just building relationships and hopefully steady moving forward that. And I know for the wife, I was just talking her up the other day about like, how great of a opinion that she has. And with some people that are making moves and waves in the world. And like, she said, you was talking about me. Yeah, I was talking about you. I put you on the spot. But, it's something that is, I think, in everyone's nature to be creative, to want to try to do something for other people, to have a understanding for what it is that they are doing in their world and how like they could, give back into it all as well. So here, the family, like I even have, like I said, my kids, I put them all to the test, but the one who's really making waves and motions in it is my youngest with her presence for her vanity, Ayana Sabrina, and just moving forward with that. So,
what about your wife? I got to stress this because, I have influencers and it's been big things of unmarried men, divorced men giving tips on marriage, which you can't say anything on marriage if you're not married. Like if you're not having a successful relationship, you should be quiet. But with the internet, everybody is talking about, what marriage is and how you should go get this high value person and that person. And I know these people, right? And I'm like, okay, but as someone who has been successful in entertainment because you're working. You bought the house. He didn't buy the 85,000 car before he bought the house, E40 quote, y'all. So can you talk about what your wife and how that relationship has grounded you or inspired you? Because it surely hasn't hurt you, I'm sure.
Oh, she actually listens. Her name is Melissa. She listens. She values my opinion. I value her opinion. And I think for the most part, trying to see each other eye to eye as when it comes to any of our creative thoughts and juices. So, she, has been riding with me ever since for the longest period of time. I love her to death, and, and vice versa. And, we just try to, make things work. We know that eventually with what we put in together in the atmosphere, that it'll definitely be moving very shortly. I explained the whole process for what I'm going through with a lot of other projects, and she sees it. If it's not through some of the social media, which I'm trying to put out there, I'll send her a clip like, this is what's going on, and like, you want to come down? She'll be like, no, I know it's all about already. I don't need to be there. Unless you come on, and I do, but I know there are moments where it's kind of tough too, because someone's trying to get X, Y, Z out for the world, and I'm just part of that process. And sometimes, she understands, and I love her for that.
That's a blessing. Love to hear those stories. So you guys know who to follow and blow up his social media when you want that marriage advice or that spousal, somebody who's done it. Actually, today is my wife and ours anniversary, 13 years. Yeah.
Mine was 20, back in June, 20 years.
Woo!
20 years in the business.
Man, yes, you guys, you're looking at them and saying, wait, yeah, middle school. That's where they got married in Philly. You can do that in Philly. So black don't crack if you don't smoke it. Now, with all the success that you're having and that you're going to have in the future, what is a community give back that you are doing or that you want to do?
So I have a group of interns that I've been dealing with, I would say, for the past 7-8 years. And a handful of them, they move on to working on some other greater spaces for some public spaces for for film and media. And I've helped a handful of kids. And I even had some kids come back to me and explain to me, like, Mr. Fields, like, thank you, I appreciate it. And it's a trying time. I have actually 12 right now on my roster that I'm mentoring, and hopefully out of the 12. There are some who are still in high school, some who are in middle school, to, just give them a path and let them know that, they need to be, just kind of aware for what they need to deliver and what it is that they might be interested in. So it's kind of like I am their teacher, because I taught all of them from the time they were probably in kindergarten up until where they're at right now. So, they have a trust factor. I'll talk to their parents and, lay it out for them at all times. So I might have had over 80 plus interns that just helped throughout the years. Right now I have 12 on my roster. So there's one man above, on the football team. But, it's kind of cool to see them blossom. And, for them, I got them in gigs where, like, you had to be union, and I got them in. I had them on jobs where we traveled to New York or DC, and we got them in. I even had some of my interns travel with me from where, for where the job I was teaching at, when I was teaching at the time. We went to South Africa, Spain, Germany, Italy, Costa Rica, and where else? Last year was Dominican Republic. This year would have been Mexico, but with COVID, it caused a cancellation for that. So, and I was slated to go to Japan twice, and I thought about bringing some of the interns along with me, but didn't happen. But it gives them a real world experience for understanding, different cultures. In actuality, I had a TV show written out way back when, and that either was like pulled away. You give that information out in the atmosphere, and other people listen. You're like, oh, wow, that sounds kind of cool. Well, if they don't have necessary funds to do it, and I know I do, I'm connected to, I can make it happen on our end. So that kind of happened, and I just got to just let it go. thought about, certain things that deals with it. But the interns are definitely my give back to what I'm going through. So, it gives them an idea if they want to go with it or not. I mean, like, you have to expose children and young adults to certain things as much as you possibly can, because you never know what they may do with it.
No, definitely. And I want to just throw in, because if I didn't, some of my audience, you didn't mention the continent yet. So we got to talk Africa. And if there are any plans, I've been to about 16 countries and I want to go to 100 plus more, more than 100 plus more, 185 or something like that more. But the work, have you found any work in Africa, any offers? Because, we all got at least $1 million waiting for us when we land in any of the countries. And it's just a beautiful place to be. So talk about, any plans for Africa?
So, yeah, Africa actually was the first country we went to. This is back in 2010. And at the time, I think I had 2 interns who went there with me at I believe 12 students that went there, and we got the kids culturized into different parts. We went to Joburg, from Joburg, Swaziland,
Sabona.
Okay. All the way to but there's certain experiences that we've gotten, and I connected to certain individuals who were like entrepreneurs. And the real cool thing is that, I met the president of Google out there, and the guy, he was brother from Philly. He got connected early on from the .com phase early on, and moved up the ranks, and Google recognized him and put him in position. And when I got out there, I connected with him, and he was actually moving from Google, working for another telecommunications company, and said, you bring XYZ, certain things gonna happen. And I think during the time I was trying to leave, we had a big major storm, and he caused, a domino effect of certain things happening. But also, prior to that, I was like the ambassador for about a handful of other individuals that came from South Africa here to the United States, because they wanted to have the quote unquote American degree in entrepreneurship, and they were already like millionaires out there already doing certain things. So, they greased my palm a little bit, and I was gladly helping them out and making sure that, they got somewhat of an American experience to try to understand what goes here, as far as for just trying to have some ground roots, and some of them been back and forth. But, I do keep tabs with some individuals who are still trying to reach that level of degree, even though I told them, you're already making it big out there. Everybody wants to come to America, and I get it, I got it. But I think if being a Black man or woman, you've never been to Africa, you got to go, because if you feel kind of like disconnected, if you don't, and once you get there, you feel, a different form of knowledge base that you're kind of given in your own personal understanding for how things kind of go with your culture.
I'm glad you said it. I didn't have to coach him. Again, you guys, I did not know I was going to interview Fred, the general manager of M12, but you hear everything else too he has going on. Every time we bring an African entrepreneur, every time we bring a Black American who goes to Africa, even white Americans who go to Africa, they fit in, because that's the real Wakanda. If you go, did you take, when you were in South Africa, the Kombi bus?
To tell you the truth, we had a
you were rich in Africa. Okay? He was chauffeured around, and that's. I'm glad you went.
we were chauffeured, from A to B. But to tell you the truth, I'm gonna tell you right now, we went to a lot of schools, and schools, I noticed that the kids, they have a love when it comes to education, and they treasure that so much, and yet they didn't have many things to even become on a stage from where our kids here have. And our kids, they don't know that what they have in front of them is the most important thing to have, and that is education. Okay, to be educated for whatever aspect it could be. And just to reach back into that, the kids who did go there that we were filming, they were treated like celebrities in every school they walked into, and these kids were just all over them, as if they were Jay-Z and Beyonce's kids. They just got that type of love. It was just so amazing when we seen that, and just trying to have them have experience. If you were to talk to those same kids again, they could tell you the magnitude of how this type of trip and all the ones that we take is life changing. It kind of opens their eyes into the world, especially certain areas which are third world, and let them know like they've been taking a lot of things for granted. And once they do achieve this global thought of how things kind of rock and roll, then they have a better understanding. Our kids here in America, they're not really grappling the aspect that education is the key. It definitely is, because it was like that from way back when they said, no, you're not, supposed to learn how to read and write or do certain things that kind of like, is going to give you the freedom that you need. So, if you educate yourself, even more so than what you're learning from school, you're on another different path too. So, but it has to come from somewhere to be a studious, to be an astute, to be a scholar. So it's very important to grapple that education.
It teaches you something, as we mentioned previous, but with that education you also got to be creative and try to, whatever God gave you, to put that together, because you need both. And if you put those two together, you won't be broke. And that's what Diversified Game is, to show how you started, sustained, and succeeded. And you can't be broke watching shows like this, watching shows like Earn Your Leisure. You can't be broke, because we're giving the game to show this is what others are doing. You could do it. Now, conferences to me make the difference. And I want to know, I'm a big fan now, because I just got to go the previous year to NAPTI. And I love it. Now I live in South Florida, and I'm like, yo, this conference, let me meet Byron Allen. Let me meet and talk with people I needed to talk to. That's the National Association of Television Program Executives people. But MIP is next. What are your favorite conferences that you've gotten the most out of?
Believe it or not, I'm the lifestyle guy when it comes to technology. And for that push has always been Apple. For some years, I tried getting in. And back in 2017, I got in. And then I realized from what they told me, I actually kind of cried when I got there. There's not too many people like me there. So in actuality, I learned a variety of different things when it came to, the Apple world. And I got it. If in order for you to be there, like you gotta, they see it. It's kind of like a battle to get there. But once you get there, you see like everybody else who's just geeked out like you. I'm like, I ain't saying nerd. It's a big difference, but geeked out about what that type of tech is doing for not just ourselves, but for our children and for people we're just trying to help learn and become educated. The other conference, that's called the Apple's Developers Conference. So it's every other year nationally, and in between those other years, it's international. So I've been to 3. This year would have been 4. I was picked again. I was going to do a workshop in front of all the Apple educators and developers, and actually is a national stage for anyone who would to think about it. So it opens up doors. I've been to this is kind of some kind of it's a conference for filming, the American film market, AFM. Been to that a couple of times, and in actuality, when I said I had a TV show idea, I was working on for the school I was teaching at. It kind of was kind of like put out there an atmosphere that another show kind of similar came up. I've been at that conference a couple of times, did the pitch session there as well, and different things as far as for meeting and rubbing elbows with different people who are doing certain things as far as for TV and film is concerned. So those are my 2 big conferences I go to. But there's one for the most part as far as for like my near dear heart, and I volunteer. And again, it's not too many people like me volunteering. And that's our Pennsylvania's Education Technology Conference. We call it PNC. So, I give the aspect of, I've done a couple of workshops there. Came to doing some editing workshops, connected to video game workshops, connected to just all the way around whatever's needed, augment reality, virtual reality, you name it. I've kind of like touched the bases with it, and I volunteer for them. So, it's pretty cool. There's one more. Etsy. the International Technology Science Conference for educators as well. So the first one I've been to was in San Diego, and San Diego is like the international platform for a lot of variety of other conferences. So it goes a long way, but for the most part, it's been technology conferences, which is my true and dear near heart for what I love to go to.
Now, have you been to CES?
No, I have not been to CES.
Okay. I was gonna ask you to compare. Yeah.
I probably would like to go, but yeah, I've heard it, but no, I haven't. No.
Okay, when COVID opens up, we're all going to be just running to conferences. Like, hold on, let's everything we can go to. I love CES too. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And I mean, you are really giving the game, folks. I don't want to give you guys a game overload because I want you to help grow Fred's social media. I've looked it up. Sometimes it's Frederick Fields, not Frederick Douglass, but Frederick Fields. And, you check out those movies and see where they're available. Do you have a website you can leave the people, or any other gems that you like to drop?
So the address is solubilityfilms.com. That's SOLUBILITY films.com. And social media, same thing too. Solubility Films for Twitter, which I'm never really on. Instagram there. It is there. The Instagram is there. So, and my wife, she put one up too called We Make Movies. Asked me how many times I've been on it. Yeah, she developed it, and I have another one too, just in case time passes, nothing's really happening. It's Platinum Photo Video. So there's another one. Well, you can catch me either of those locations, those addresses. That's my math, and there you have it.
Well, you guys have gotten the game. Make sure to check him out. Next time he's going to South Africa, I want to connect him with a friend of mine and past guest, Tafuma Mula VIP Rental, so he can find, if you need a plane, Rolls Royce, whatever, he got you. That's what he does.
That's what I'm talking about. And I was just in a Rolls Royce in the worst snowstorm just recently, and we got stuck.
I think I saw that on Instagram, and I'm like, man, what first world problems to have, But it's a beautiful thing, bro. I appreciate you. You guys, as always, we're gonna take this offline. Like, share, subscribe. Be blessed.
All right. Thank you.